Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Mike with smartoptiontrading.com. It's Sunday, the 22nd of February. This is my week ahead video. I do this for members every week. I'm doing it for free this week. I didn't do charts. When I don't do charts, I put this out there, celebrating the Olympics. Great showing by the United States. I thought it was a great Olympics. Nice win by Team USA today in hockey for the final. All right, so let's talk about what's going on this week. And we come into this week, and there's a lot going on. From an economic perspective, we have factory orders, Dallas Fed manufacturing survey on Monday, housing information on Tuesday, along with consumer confidence at 10 a.m. Not much on Wednesday and Thursday. On Friday morning, we'll open the room early for PPI and then Chicago PMI at 9:45. We have a ton of Fed speak out there. It's going to be busy. What is not shown on here are some of the other things that are going on. So Trump announced instead of putting 10% tariffs, he decided to make it 15, which is the max he can go with this. So how's this all going to play out? It's anybody's guess at this point. These 15% tariffs now instead of 10% that have been put on across the board can only stay on for 150 days. They need congressional approval. It means Congress has to vote to do it. There's no chance that's going to get through Congress on the midterm election. So they're rapidly trying to find other means and ways to do this. This is probably going to end up back in courts, and we'll see where we go from there. Right. So that's going to be going on. In the meantime, you have a very angry Trump. He lashed out very heavily on Friday. Over the weekend, he's lashed out some more. He's turned his attention back on Greenland now. He's going to turn his attention back on Iran, where they're expected maybe to talk on Thursday. If we're going to attack Iran, I would expect it would be after the other big thing going on, which is the State of the Union on Tuesday night, which is probably not going to be a unity type of State of the Union. He's angry. He's probably going to lash out. He lashed out at Netflix today, also already over the weekend, demands they fire Susan Rice or pay the consequences. So there's a lot going on here, and he's very active right now. And, this is what you have to just be aware of. It's also a busy week for earnings. And again, don't care one way politically. I just care how it affects the markets here. So when we go into earnings this week, and that's the wrong one. How did that happen? Hold on. There we go. We got the right one up. All right. So, a lot of names here. Names like Domino's on Monday morning. KTOS, I know a lot of you guys like that one, reports after the close on Monday. Tuesday morning, Home Depot is interesting. Got SIFR Mining, Token. These are not names I really care about. Tuesday night, Kava, very interesting to me, along with First Solar, HPQ's in there. You also have Lucid. We'll see if they can manage to stay relevant. TEM, I missed that one as well. Wednesday morning, Circle, Lowe's, RXRX is in there. TJ Maxx, Hut. And then Wednesday night, it's going to be just busy on off the hook. Zoom and then NVIDIA. I'm going to tell you right now, NVIDIA, I mean, given all the money being spent, there's no way they don't beat, there's no way they don't guide up. The question is here, does it matter? It's going to be interesting to see what Zoom, Salesforce, Snow say after this beatdown. We got IONQ in there, TTD and Joby. Thursday morning, CELH, QBTS, the Quantum Play, VST, Baidu, first China name in there, Warner Brothers, which doesn't really matter anymore. Thursday night, Rocket Labs, SoundHound, Dell, CoreWeave is in there. You get the idea. So we have a busy week coming up there. So overall, there's a lot going on as we go into this week. From a sentiment perspective, as we come into this week, not much has changed. The NASDAQ plus 15 on the oscillator, it is on the positive side of neutral. The New York Stock Exchange at plus 33, also there with it. The advanced decline lines have mostly flattened out. Nice little curl up in the SPX on Friday. Your highs versus lows on the S&P 500 plus 120 versus 26 remains very strong. On the NASDAQ, we've been ping-ponging back and forth between good and bad. 199 versus 176, back to just barely on the positive side. Put the call, we don't really look at this as much anymore as neutral, and market breadth turned up on the NASDAQ, leading up and new all-time highs on the New York Stock Exchange. A lot of divergence here, right? The market's trading very differently, very strange stuff. So let's start off with the ES here. See how that opens tonight. Currently, pre-market futures are trading pretty much flat. On the ES, this 100-day area has been support. How do I know that? Touch, close on it, open on it, touch, 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 right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row. We have bounced into that area and we come off of it. Yes, we went below it, but overall, and here we are, the 50-day on Friday, we could need to break above here, and we could ramp back up to that 7,000 level. Okay, so keep that in mind. NQs looks similar, just weaker. Crude remains strong, still long some crude micro contracts here. Again, I think it's only a matter of time before we go into Iran. I really do. my own personal opinion there. Bonds off the highs here, but holding up. Gold had a nice candle and trying to break back to the upside along with silver on Friday. We'll see if these get any potential movement. Bitcoin still hasn't broken the 8-day, really needs to clear that 70K area. The VIX remains very elevated, but completely smashed back down on Friday. It's under 20 again. We'll see if this is a good signal here. HYG curling up, leading stronger than the markets. That is very good for us. The transports remain strong. That is very good for us. And the dollar overall weak, but in a little bit of a strengthening phase. Again, under the covers, while there's a lot of carnage, overall market internals are holding up. We're in a chop, right? So the thing to remember here is we're in a massive consolidation slash chop zone. And when you look at the S&P 500, you can see we've been sideways here. And again, try not to get overthinking here, right? We came up, and this is around the time we started to run out of juice. It was right back here in October. Managed to push. That was the last big, great push we had. All right, so right here in late October, this 4-day move here was the last really good push and a break of the all-time high we had. Since then, it has been a absolute mess, right? Pull back, get up, pull back, get up here, touch, pull back, put a new all-time high by a couple cents, pull back, put a new all-time high by a couple cents, pull back, make a new all-time high a couple cents, pull back, make an all-time high. So keep that in mind. This is what's going on. When you look at this chart, right, nothing's really changed here. We have now a series of lower highs, and we have a series now of lower lows. So the question is, are we going into a downtrend in this market in a weakening phase and going to roll over, or is this just another head fake? What we do know is every dip, right? You look at all these dips we had in here, right? They were this one here aggressively bought back. This one here aggressively bought back. This one here aggressively bought back. Here, aggressively bought back. Here, aggressively bought back. Here, aggressively bought back. Here, not yet. Has not been aggressively bought back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and we're still inside that candle. So action has changed. This is a control candle on the S&P 500. While we broke below it twice, we haven't broken it. We've closed above it. We haven't taken out the highs. This candle right here is your little downside, your important spot. This is now your low 675.79. We double tapped it and held and came up of it. If we cannot hold there, then we'll watch 671.21. To the upside, you got to clear from this candle here. The high there is 695.35, and then see if you can take out this, this lower high. Okay, but we did close above all the moving average in the SPY. We look good, right? We look around, quickly go over to others. IWM, nice bounce, but range bound. The Dow remains stronger, but underneath the 8-day here, the Qs remain overall weaker, and that has been the case. The banks, messy, right? Very, very messy here under the 8-day. They need to recover. Wells Fargo has been one of the stronger banks, just as something to note there. Citigroup, JP Morgan, Goldman, all of them looking kind of meh here. Energy has remained strong off the all-time high, which was put in last week on Thursday, but holding the 8-day. ExxonMobil, a couple of days here, is pulling back. This one looks tired. It had a huge move. Chevron got $2 away from the all-time high. Oxy looks very strong off that report. I would keep my eyes on Oxy this week. Definitely one to consider there and watch in the energy space. Devon also strong off their report. All right. XBI kind of just in the consolidation phase. J&J just off the all-time high. Lilly in a little bit of a digestive mode here. Gilead after a huge move digesting. You get the idea. BMY, right? These are all kind of gone into digestion mode here after big moves. The market could certainly use some rotation, right? Back to tech is honestly the place it should be trying to go. Pepsi, Coke, all holding strong. These are safety names. CL as well, doing just fine. Look at retail names. We're going to get more and more of them. Walmart pulled back just before, and they sold that report. It was a fine report. Their guidance was a little light. It's just run too far, and its valuation is getting a little high. Costco holding in, but pull back. Can't wait to see what Home Depot has to say this week. Crypto remains weak and out of play, but if it goes, coin is trying to forge a bottom down here. Coin is trying to diverge itself from crypto after earnings. It was a good report. I did not think it was a good report. But bottom line is the market price action says, Mike, you're wrong. So on watch. And really for me now needs to break that 21-day at 180.30. I actually have my sell trigger for Monday at 178.55, figuring that'll come down a little bit. We'll watch that area there. I'm going to put Hood in with this. Hood has been weak for a while, sold off on earnings, has not been able to get to that gap, right? Two rejections now at the 8 day. If it can get above the 8 day, we'll look for it to test that gap at 79.90. Then we'll see. If not, we'll see if it takes out the low at $70. At some point, this is going to be a screaming buy again. Just keep that in mind. All right. Let's talk software names. Palantir can't get above the 8 day. Until it's done, it remains overall at a play. It tried last week on that upgrade. Shooting star candle came right back down. Overall, it's been very weak for a while. We have lots of short software names reporting cloud names this week. It's going to be interesting. Oracle remains overall weak. You got an H-cell pattern developing there on that one. Let's talk semis. The SMHs remain very strong. With all this spending from your Mag 7, this 600 plus $billion by a couple of these names between Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon, right? There's the SM semis remain strong. It is the memory space, Micron, SanDisk, Western Digital, which hit an all-time high last week, which remains strong. By the way, SanDisk, that offering, they bought it right back. No surprise. You look around elsewhere, it's the Taiwan semis, which remain very strong, just off the all-time high. Your companies that produce the equipment to make it, AMAT all-time highs, LRCX type almost at the all-time high. We're going to get NVIDIA this week. Again, like I said, nothing in my mind says they don't beat and guide up. The question is whether this market's going to care or not. Careful of the initial reactions on that one. Overall, watch 190, and then above 190, it needs to clear 193.66 and then 196, the upside. Otherwise, we just remain in this channel from 196 down to 170 going sideways. AMD still needs to clear the 8 day. If not, we're going to roll over. We lose this 190 area, and you have more of this big gap to fill all the way down here into the 170 area, the 200 day, and there in between. ARM remains mostly weak and out of play, but holding in. Same thing with Qualcomm. All right, Intel, slowly rolling back down, holding the 50 day. You could try longs versus if you like it, but I don't know. I don't see anything rare driving that. So then we go over to big cap tech and mega tech names, and we'll take a look at starting off at Microsoft. Overall remains weak, can't break the 8 day. Again, if these can't bounce, this one probably takes out that 390 and goes lower. Amazon's had a couple nice day bounce, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4 up days in a row. If it wants to push 312.85 is that gap. Always when you have a gap after a move like this, be aware of the push into it and then yank right out of it. They like to do that, get people to chase. Tesla remains mostly out of play, rejected at the 8 day all week long last week, every day last week. Overall, can't get going. Not breaking down, remains sideways. Meta trying to wake back up, had a beautiful candle on Friday. Now needs to clear that 100 day and then 670. Then we'll see if it can work its way back up into that 200 day. Apple have their event on March 4th. That's not this week, it's next week. Nice recovery candle on Friday back into the 8 and the 21 day. You have a lot of stuff to break above there. 686, 267.03, the level to real area really to clear there. Overall, trying to wake up. Google also with a nice little candle there on Friday. Nice hold of the 100 day. Now can we get back above that 620 area and the 50 day and get going? We look around other names. ONDS, nice 4 day run, but sold back off. Not a surprise there. The space remains a little bit out of play. Rocket Lab, right? The aerospace, same thing. They try to push them up. Quantum names remain weak, right? That one or IONQ. They just don't want anything. Software, cloud, destroyed. Palo Alto, destroyed, right? These were off of just Anthropic talking of headline that they could help with cybersecurity, right? So anything that any of these AI companies say right now they're going to kill them, like Schwab last 2 weeks ago, right? Still hasn't even begun to recover. So bottom line, as we go into this week, we have a lot going on. I hate saying this, but I think Trump's going to be a major focus this week. His reactions and what he's doing and how he is. So you're just going to have to be aware of that. And overall, we'll see how this plays out this week. Are we going to break back to the upside as a head fake? Internals on the market in terms of things still look good. Under the covers, there's a lot of carnage. One of these things has got to give. Something's not right. Something's lying here. So we'll catch out which one. Have a great weekend. If you want to join us, link in the description. I'll catch you guys live in the room on Monday morning.